We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years, approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the number 2 population for 400 years. You're going to get kicked out of being number 2. You're going to go down and become number 4. Now, common sense, even a third grade education would tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were number 2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're going to get when you become number 4.
President Biden, do you support reparations?
Well, I mean, since I haven't spoken in this chance, number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of every 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America. Systemic racism that has plagued our nation for far, far too long. I said that over the course of the past year that the blinders have been taken off the nation, the American people. But what many Americans didn't see or had simply refused to see couldn't be ignored any longer. Those 8 minutes and 46 seconds that took George Floyd's life opened the eyes of millions of Americans and millions of people around all over the world. It was the knee on the neck of justice, and it wouldn't be forgotten. And it's not white Americans' fault, but just a fact.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today, many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Now, this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
We are owed $104 trillion on the very low end, plus $735 billion recurring. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor compound interest from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. The number I'm working with is for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives. If you believe in this number as I do and would like to join me in the fight for reparations, please email me at friendsofadostv@gmail.com. That's friendsofadostv@gmail.com. What is going on? Good evening on the West Coast. Good evening in the Central. Good evening on the East Coast. You know exactly who it is, family. Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the reparationist perspective formerly known as the Friends of ADOS TV channel. Oh yes, I'm going in some more. I don't know how many of you caught me on Tamara for Georgia's show yesterday when she had, I think his name was Richard Winfield. I don't even recall. He was a flat out racist is what he was. And Tamara brought me on the show along with Be the Power to get his whiteness all the way together. And it was my pleasing pleasure to do so, although it made me hotter than fish grease. Mike Michelson, I see you already in here cutting up. I love you, Black and Strong. I know it's Valentine's Day and y'all are all booed up at your dinners and the whole 9 yards. So I thank those of you who have chosen to come out from under your boo to spend a couple of hours with me. I'm going to try to keep it brief, but y'all know how that goes. I do my best to get y'all out of here in under 2 hours. What's up, Trey Lincoln? Shout out to you, my brother. Welcome to the live. Oh my God. I read that mofo from Genesis to Revelation and back from Revelations back to Genesis. I was not here for it. This man is a Yale professor talking this foolishness about some of us deserving reparations as victims, and others of us are just merely descendants. We don't get a check. Only if you're a victim of institutional systemic racism. I want to ask, which one of us would that be? Which one of us has not endured institutional systemic racism? This mofo couldn't answer a straight question. Now I came with all my facts. I came and I broke the 104 trillion and the 735 billion recurring all the way down the way I do. I am on that data. If I learn nothing else from the chair throwing Yvette Carnell, I learned how to be about that data. Okay? I learned how to be about that data. So I had my little facts and carrying on. It was all laid out. I had my Walmart. I think these are from Rite Aid. I had my Rite Aid readers so I wouldn't get the trillions we are owed wrong. I had the data on Atlanta where this Mickey Thicky has the unmitigated gall to want the black vote. We down there 51% or something crazy. I mean, there's a bunch of black folks down in the ATL. And this white supremacist ran on the same ticket as Tamara Johnson Shealy, who came in 6th place with no money. Now, he got all the money in the world and gonna tell me he gonna compare our enslavement in this country and all the wealth he's privileged to eat from. He's gonna tell me a one-time check is not what's needed. And that only people, I believe in reparations for victims, not the descendants. But you gonna compare our heinous chattel slave labor to the $20,000 check that Japanese folks got for being in internment camps? You're talking about at the end of chattel slavery, there were 4 million of us, many of whom were bred, okay, because the import of Africans was no longer profitable. So they raped us, and then they made us sleep with other black men to continue pumping out babies till we built up their slave labor to 4 million. And you want to sit up here and be okay with Japanese getting a one-time $20,000 check, and you can't run me them numbers to tell me how your federal jobs guarantee, which we all know is going to benefit who? White women under affirmative action, immigrants under affirmative action, LGBTQIA under affirmative action first. Any crumbs remaining will be ours. And this is what the show is about tonight. These colored faces of white supremacy, these colored agents, these colored gatekeepers of white supremacy. Because the color of whiteness in this country is green. And we, as American descendants of Choctaw slavery, are the legs of the table that all of these Mickey Fickies eat from. He had the unmitigated gall to sit up here and say, that's not the solution, while not sharing with me how the federal jobs guarantee that's going to benefit everyone but us is going to close the over $100 trillion egregious racial wealth gap. Well, me and Be the Power had to give him that work. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Because he was not making any sense. He couldn't distinguish between what a victim was and a descendant to justify his claims that only victims should get reparations. How does that work? Nobody went in there and told the Jews that only the victims of the Holocaust could get reparations, repair, okay, for the Holocaust. They gave that money and is still giving that money to survivors, right? But you want to sit up, nobody told the Japanese that were survivors of the internment camps, no, you can't have your 20K. Furthermore, it took you over 400 years to drive us into this ditch. It's going to take a good 800 for us to be good. And we will take installments. And the 17 trillion Darity is talking about is just a down payment compared to my number that I'm fighting for. I'm not on it. I'm not here for it because it was slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage. So I'm not opposed to federal jobs. I'm saying both and. Don't come with me. Now they want to sit up here and create the problems in this country for ADOCS. And now they want our vote to be the solution while weaponizing immigration against us to take everything. That's why I showed y'all that $20 bill. That's about as much as I've seen them talk about anything specific for our group. And I'm going to show you how your very ADOCS, your Justice Democrats, and one Republican I'm throwing in there for his shiggity, okay? I'm going to throw him in there to show y'all you need to wake up because respectability and identity politics is the death knell for American descendants of Choctaw slavery. Just because they look like you don't mean they are for you. And this white supremacist on Tamara's show, wanting the black vote while not offering to do a damn thing to close the over $100 trillion egregious racial wealth gap. That's not how any of this works. And I'm not having it. And it is my plum pleasing pleasure to get you all the way together. Immigrants and white folks alike. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I got my data ready. I showed this Mickey Ficky how the blacks in Atlanta that he wants the vote from, median income is $35,000. Median income in Atlanta in 2021, where your average house costs $300,000. Compared to white folks, they earning $84,000. And you a Yale professor. Yeah, you a Yale professor. And you teach philosophy. And you don't even invoke any logic. You want us to eat the cost of slavery is what you're setting us up for, but not just him. You want the black vote without doing anything in exchange, but not just him. Let me shout my people out. Darrell Craft, welcome to the live. Mike Michelson, welcome to the live. Trey Lincoln, welcome to the live. Yeah, we gave Winfield that work. Y'all need to go check it out. Bobby0231, welcome, fam, to the live. I thank y'all. And for those of you who have not checked that you're in the building, welcome one and all. Yes, we gave him that work. Y'all need to check that out. It's in YouTube and Facebook at Tamara for Georgia. I wasn't here for it. Okay? We are not, as Tamara so succinctly said, we are not our ancestors, baby. We will give you that smoke. Shout out to the millennials and the boomers and Gen Xers in Washington, D.C. today with the March for Reparations. Oh, no. Just because they decide to throw chairs in the other hashtag community doesn't mean the rest of us aren't busy at work continuing to lean on for those reparations because, family, this is the fight. We're going to go over some of your initiatives and your directives as the show winds down. I'm going to try to deal with the bigger stuff and then get into the fix HR 40. Oh, yeah. That needs to be daily. You need to be dropping emails daily, dropping the tweets daily, dropping the calls daily. Okay? Because this revolution is being social mediaized. You understand? And so we don't have it as bad like our ancestors who were sprayed and lynched and all this kind of stuff. We can be in the comforts of our home thanks to the price they paid. Putting in work. We got to do this every day to guarantee our edits and to guarantee that Dr. William Sandy Darity, lead economist and Duke professor, is in those hearings to fight for our reparations, or else we'll end up with a bunch of $5 immigrant and white ADOCS Indians, okay? ADOCS. And $5 will come your way if these Mickey Fickies get their way with this HR 40. We got to shut it down, and I'll give you those instructions towards the end, okay? But yeah, they want us to eat the cost of slavery while giving the country away. Just giving it away to immigrants to make us fourth-class citizens and to quiet our justice claim. And the only vote we've got, the only commodity we've got is our vote. We must weaponize it and socialize this suffering. That's what I'm on this station every Friday and Wednesday. I came on today. Folks pulling on me to go have fun. I had my fun. I had a fabulous mani-pedi. I went out to dinner, Avenue, Italy. I had a blast. I went hiking in some of the most beautiful terrain over in Rancho Palos Verdes. I'm good. I can pick up where I left off tomorrow with the festivities, but it was imperative that I stay consistent so y'all know when to tune in. I do my best to do that. So, with that said, let me show you some more of the puckery and foolishness that's going on under this new administration, under the auspice of the Justice Democrats. Now, the Democratic Party, we were once Republicans, right? And so that changed. I want to say around FDR, maybe. I got to get that fact right. I know we've been doing this dance with the Democrats for about 80 years. But prior to that, we were Republicans. And then there was a changing of the guard, and the Dixiecrats went Republican, and the KKK all went that direction because we started getting rights. I've got to get my facts right before I start. I have so much in my mind from so much I've read. I don't want to quote it verbatim. But we were once Republicans, and the Democratic Party was transformed by the Black vote. Now we're going through a more slicker. We're going with a more slicker way of giving our reparations to all the other groups while keeping us tethered to the bottom of this country. And they get you running to the polls for what they term justice Democrats while cutting you out of everything, cutting us out of everything. Wait till you see it. Okay, so let me share the screen to make my point. Okay. Share screen. Application window. Where are those Justice Democrats? Oh, here we go. Well, that's one of them. Shout out to TD Hip Hop Media. I can't find my other one as quickly as I could his. But now look at this. Let me see here if y'all can see it. Hold on. Yeah, y'all can see it. Okay. Okay. Now, Here you see, I'm going to blank myself out for a second. Here you see the Justice Democrats, right? Now, when you look at this, you see a bunch of folks, about 3 ADOCS. I see Ayanna Pressley, I see Cori Bush, and Jamal Bowman featured here. But we know that there was Warnock. We know, I don't know of any more ADOCS, but they're peppered in throughout, right? So we already know that the first, second, and third aren't doing anything for us. We know the fifth and the sixth, nothing. We know AOC, nothing. And this last person, I can't see the name, but nothing. So you would at least think, oh, okay, Justice Democrats. Oh, Nina Turner is another one. Nina Turner is running for Congress. I can't even find her platform. But let's get into the others' platforms to see if they're doing anything for the people that they come from. Let's just see. Let's go to their platforms. Okay. Put my little glasses on because this is a little hard to see. Okay. So let's look at Ayanna Pressley. This is a platform Ayanna Pressley ran on. So she starts off, they all can talk so eloquently about what plagues us while doing nothing for ADOCS. Okay. She talks about Massachusetts. 7th District is comprised of diverse, vibrant communities, but it is also one of the most unequal districts in the Commonwealth and across the country. Today, when you board the MBTA's #1 bus in Cambridge is less than 3 miles to Dudley Station in Roxbury. But by the time you've made the 30-minute trip, median household income in the neighborhoods around you has dropped by nearly $50,000 and life expectancy by as much as 30 years. Now, let me help you with something. Me speaking. In Boston, according to the Color of Wealth Boston from 2004 to 2014, our people, ADOCS, was, I want to say, $8 liquid. So when she's talking about this 50,000, she's talking about all the other groups. She ain't talking about American descendant of chattel slavery. No. Out here in LA, I told you from the Color of Wealth that we are 44% of the degreed, only 6% of the private sector. Our median income is $53,500 as compared to Mexicans who are 17% degreed and earning $50,000 median income. These disparities didn't just happen. They are the result of decades of short-sighted exclusionary policies that harden institutional racism, increase income inequality, and advantage those in power. Ayanna has made it her life's work to reverse the legacy of these destructive policies by ensuring that those closest to the pain are closest to the power, driving and informing the policy making. In Congress, Ayanna is fighting to resist the cruel, draconian policies put forward by the White House, which threaten to take us backwards, and is working every day in close partnership with community to advance bold, empathetic policy on issues of consequence to the people of the Massachusetts 7th, from housing and transportation to healthcare, education, justice, and the rights of women and girls. So let's just see. She's standing with the LGBTQ community. What are they? Amongst ADOCS, 0.000000001%. foreign policy centered on empathy and the pursuit of peace. Okay, of the $903 billion bailout for COVID, $903 billion COVID relief, let's put it like that. It was combined with the federal stimulus, federal spending bill, which gave $703 billion to foreign countries, special interest group, and lobbyists. How is this helpful to American descendants of chattel slavery? Next, addressing the impact of violence and trauma on who? And how do you intend to address that? You guys can go and drill down. I'm just going over the subtitles of her issues and her platform. Protecting the rights of cisgender and transgender women and girls. How many of those are ADOS? 0.0000000001. Okay, maybe less than that in Massachusetts. Tackling entrenched healthcare disparities. For whom? We're the ones dying disproportionately from COVID. Confronting the climate crisis. Are you dealing with issues of redlining our people into environmentally racist communities and tenement housing as we're executed by government sanction for the sake of gentrification? Are you dealing with that, Ayanna Presley? Expanding educational opportunity. For whom? If we're $8 liquid, who's educating us? Imagining the future of transportation. Unless we've got quotas to fill these jobs by American descendants of chattel slavery for $60,000 a year. Imagine, oh boo, a just and humane immigration system. Yeah, because they are planning, as the Democrats, to replace us with immigrants. It's already happened. There's 70 million to our 35 million, and you want us to be more about class-based policies which don't fix race. Lineage matters. So you're focused on immigration in the same way Biden is. Housing as a human right. We're the majority of homeless at $8 liquidity in Boston. An economy that works for everyone. There goes your reparations. Transforming our criminal injustice system. Okay, I don't know how many that impacts in Massachusetts. I do believe we need criminal justice reform, but what I do believe we need is a decimation of private prisons. Biden gave you 8%. What about the other 92% that own the prisons which own ADOCS as its slaves? So there's a nothing burger from her. These are your gatekeepers of white supremacy. These are your gatekeepers. You need to know who they are, what they look like, so you can weaponize your vote and socialize your suffering. Let's go to the next. Nothing burger from an ADOCS. Okay. These are your Justice Democrats. Cori Bush. Let's do her. This is Cori Bush's agenda. Protecting our communities. As your congresswoman, I will fight tooth and nail to eradicate targeted hateful discrimination and enact federal policies that protect and uplift all people. Our people are the anchor. We've been fighting to get up off the bottom for over 400 years. But you want to take our repair and make sure everybody is okay. Nothing in here specifically for American descendants of chattel slavery, akin to Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, LGBTQ plus equality. Hold on one second, y'all. I've got to put this phone on silent. Lord have mercy. Yeah, LGBTQ equality, immigration reform, prison reform, gender equality, criminal justice reform. Where is anything in here to help close the over? Oh, here we go. Let's go some more. Investing in social safety nets, Medicare for all, Green New Deal, housing for all. Building a future where we can thrive, public safety, education for all. Economic justice, campaign finance reform. This is what we're up against. And this is why I'm telling you, until we get a pact, this is until we pour into our pact to replace these justice Democrats with full-chested reparationists, we're doomed. Okay, let's stop sharing her nonsense because the show must go on. Let's get on over to Jamal Bowman and his reconstruction. Yeah, we haven't been remedied from the first reconstruction. He's on the third. Here's his reconstruction agenda. Oh, hold on. Yeah, here we go. So you would think, I'm going to vote for this man. He's got a reconstruction agenda. It's time for us to root out the racism. First of all, reparations is not about racism. It's about institutional systemic racism against a group of people whose ancestors built all the wealth they eat from. That's been part of this country since the very beginning. So, here's the reconstruction agenda. It's time for us to root out the racism that's been part of this country since the very beginning. We must confront the question of whether America can fulfill its revolutionary promise and become a democracy that guarantees freedom and justice for all. See? Here we go. Or whether the price paid for the original sin of slavery and white supremacy must be unceasing misery, poverty, and death. So you see how they weaponize our ancestors' heinous chattel slave labor and ultimately do nothing for us. Let's keep on. In his final book, Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. confronted this question. Ever since the birth of our nation, white America has had a schizophrenic personality on the question of race. She has been torn between selves, a self in which she proudly professed the great principles of democracy, and a self in which she sadly practiced the antithesis of democracy. This tragic duality has produced a strange indecisiveness and ambivalence, causing America to take a step backward simultaneously with every step forward on the question of racial justice. Okay, he starts talking about he starts weaponizing George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and David McAtee. We saw the antithesis of the democracy in their murders in a pandemic that disproportionately affects, here we go, Black and brown communities, of which brown folks they've outnumbered us now. And in the White House that scheduled a campaign rally in Tulsa, the site of white supremacist terror on Juneteenth, still today, we bear witness to an America that will shed blood to cling to power and privilege on the basis of race. But we also see the democracy America could become in many millions who march for Black lives, each one carrying forward the torch passed on by revolutionaries, abolitionists, and so. Okay, we know you're weaponizing what's happened to us. What is it you intend to do? Okay, reconciling with our history by establishing a National Truth and Reconciliation Commission to investigate, document, and assess the federal government's role in America's history of racism. A federal investigation and commission model on the transitional justice approach in Germany, South Africa, and Rwanda. Sounds good. Foster national conversation, blah, blah, blah. Get off our necks by shifting funding and resources from police departments, jails, and prisons to new agencies designed to protect public health. Okay, I don't mind shifting funds, but if they're not specifically to transform what's happening to American descendants of chattel slavery, it's just another white and immigrant transfer of wealth to make them more whole than us. Oh, I do like this. End qualified immunity and ban officers with use of force violations from future employment in other departments. I like that. What about dismantling private prisons? Because dramatically reduce our jail and prison population by ending the school to prison pipeline, lengthy sentencing, and mandatory minimums. I like this. I like this from him. Let us breathe. All working people will be better off in America that values Black lives. Medicare, here we go. Medicare for all, housing justice. Too many people of color. You got to watch this. This is when he starts to give away the one thing that matters the most to ADOCS, cash in the bank to close the egregious racial wealth gap. Everybody wants to take what is owed to us to fix everybody. They want us to eat the cost of this slavery. Housing justice, too many people of color, working class Americans are being pushed out of the neighborhoods they grew up in. We need to invest in revamping our existing social and public housing and creating new units. We need to make it easier for municipalities and states to enact rent control. We need to enforce fair housing standards. We must end the racist and classist practice of exclusionary zoning that has prevented millions of Americans from securing stable housing. Let me tell you something. $8 liquid, ADOCS can't even afford to purchase homes. Free college and canceling student loan debt. I've already shared with you guys how problematic this is because only 18% of us are degreed. What about the other 82% as you're giving away our repair? Invest in public schools. Which are predominantly immigrant by now. Green New Deals, tax the rich. Expand labor unions and Social Security, baby bonds. The median white family today holds nearly 10 times the wealth of the median Black family. If we provided all newborns a savings account with $1,000 and added up to $2,000 per year until the child turned 18, we would move tremendously in addressing inequality and the racial wealth gap in this country. Look at that. Here's all of your reparations to fix everybody when it was our ancestors' heinous chattel slave labor that is their reparations. This is how white folks and government is trying to get this over. Okay, let's move on. Y'all need to understand who you're voting for out here. Y'all need to stop this. You cannot sit up here and give these people the White House without making demands of them before the vote. Just like Dr. Charles Morris said of Abyssinian Church when he was the pastor after delivering Teddy Roosevelt, you shot us when our guns were empty. When Teddy Roosevelt, after getting the Black vote, dishonorably discharged 167 Buffalo soldiers for being wrongfully accused of murdering a second white man after being quarantined to their barracks for being accused of killing the first. Neither of which they did. But Teddy Roosevelt, after he got that Black vote, like Biden, who said, you have my back, I'll have yours, right? After he got the Black vote, he dishonorably discharged them. Dr. Charles Morris said, hey, you shot us when our guns were empty. We're going to return the same by delivering a blue top and a red Congress to protect the Black South. Until we weaponize the only commodity we've got, just be prepared to be living in the shipping containers I'm about to share with you in just a second after I finish this little segment, okay? So, real quick, I want to share with you what's happening with our Black immigrants, our new gatekeepers. And then we're going to do a little bit on education, and I'm going to pray us out. Oh, where is that one? Shipping containers. Okay, let me see in the application window. I think that's where that is. Is that it? Aha! A Black Republican candidate for governor in Michigan named Austin Chingy wants to cancel Black History Month because it's offensive to all other Americans. Let me see. Is it this direction? Okay. Did y'all see that? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing that to show you his tweet. He intends to get rid of Black History Month and make it All American History Month. This is a Nigerian, okay? So let me come back over. I want to share with you his tweet and share with you some facts about these Nigerians. Application window. Where is he? Here he is. I think this is it. Share. Okay. I hope y'all can see this. I'm going to try to, let me come back over here and see what y'all can see, because it's really small. Let me try to blow this up a little bit. Lord. Okay, hold on, guys and dolls. No. Ooh, do Jesus. Okay, hold on, guys. I'm coming. I'm just trying to figure out which one of these tabs it is. No. Let me see. So I can read it to you. I wanted to blow it up, but I'm trying to find it on the backhand side here. So y'all can see what is working against you, getting in the way of what we're doing. It's a mess. That's not it. Okay. Just give me a second, guys. I'm sorry. I get lost when I come over. Okay, here we go. Let me blow this up. He says, okay, let me bring it down a little bit. I will cancel hashtag Black History Month and hashtag Michigan. It's offensive, unfair, maybe even illegal. Americans from all backgrounds deserve a revered history. I'll declare American History Month. Austin Chingy, veteran and first Republican governor candidate for Michigan. This is the kind of nonsense we're up against. Okay, let me come back over here. I've got more stuff to share with you. This is what we're up against. You guys have got to get over this identity and respectability politics. It is killing our people. So I want to share other places where these Nigerians are flocking to work. Nigerians are flocking to work in the Texas prisons. These are your new colored faces of oppression, your new colored white supremacists. Flocking to work in the Texas prisons. John Akporuvwe flew from Lagos, Nigeria to Boston in September 2008 after winning a visa through a lottery run by the U.S. State Department. He spent 3 days in Boston with a friend and then moved to Los Angeles, where he knew a pastor from back home. He worked as a security guard at the Staples Center in the city's main train depot and took a second job transporting blood between doctors and laboratories. His wife and children, they now have 2 boys and 2 girls, eventually joined him, and they squeezed into a single room in the pastor's house. In terms of job opportunities, Akporuvwe says California was as dry as Africa. Now that he's telling the truth. I mean, if you're on that low level, when you are from Africa and you have money, you can afford whiteness. The wealthier Nigerians that come here with money are around $60,000 liquid per the Commonwealth LA from 2000 to 2014. But if you a struggle bull like this, no, he's right. In early 2010, he found a friend from his college days in Lagos on Facebook and sent him a message, and they started chatting. The friend was working in a Texas prison and making good money. He prayed. He felt he had little to lose. In that March, he found a cheap apartment in Houston. Took the entrance exam for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, known locally as TDCJ. He passed easily in September. TDCJ offered him a job in Huntsville, a town of 30,000, about an hour from Houston, which houses many of the state's prisons and the agency's headquarters. Your new overseers. As soon as he arrived, he discovered that there were lots of Nigerians and other West Africans already living in Huntsville, all working for TDCJ. Some, like him, had brought their families, and others were single men living in department dorms. Many, like him, already had college degrees from back home that wouldn't transfer, so they were studying at Sam Houston State University, the local college, during the day and working at night. And I'm sure it was our affirmative action that made it so. Hold on, family. I got to turn on a little bit of fan because this is making me hotter than fish grease. Okay? Yes, it is, family. This. Ooh, dude, Jesus. Let me get back to it. Okay. Y'all got to understand what is happening to you. Martin Luther King Jr. tried to warn you. Dr. Claude Anderson tried to warn you. And I am just picking up the alarm and ringing it as loudly as I can. Okay, so I'm sure our affirmative action is what helps him, because all he's got to do is what, family, mark African American, to get all the grants, the FAFSAs, whatever he needs to get a free education on the backs of our chattel slave labor. Okay? He discovered a phenomenon that had already become apparent to prisoners, their family members, and correctional officers since around 2008. A wave of African immigrants have taken jobs as prison guards in Texas. The exact numbers are unknown. The Texas Prison Agency does not keep track of the birthplaces of its employees, but prisoners and correctional officers anecdotally ballpark it in the hundreds. Many come from Nigeria, but others hail from Cameroon, Liberia, Uganda, and Sierra Leone. In 2009, the newsletter Prison Legal News reported that at the Ramsey unit near Houston, entire shifts were largely composed of who? Nigerians. The rise of African correctional officers is a story of an immigrant community finding an economic niche, but it is also a story of how prisons have shifted from the kinds of places where one makes a career to transient way stations to the middle class. A lot of these African guys I see coming in are going to college and also working, says Lance Lowry, head of the Huntsville local of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, which represents correctional staff. We see a lot of them leave the agency to make more money elsewhere. There's a lot of turnover. And this is why there's $60,000 liquid. That was in 2014, far wealthier now. And also in the way of us getting our reparations. They're not out here stomping with us. If nothing else, Narcan and Cobra are trying to guarantee they get a piece of our reparations. So y'all can call me what you want. I'm going in on immigrants and white folks. I'm not going to be one of these people that y'all silence and try to shame me from not telling and exposing the truth about how this is being weaponized against us, while they continue this narrative of us being lazy, no good, and no count, creating the problems so that they can be the solution for immigrants and white folks to our peril. Miss me with it. I will be speaking on it as often as I can until you wake up and weaponize your vote and socialize this suffering. All of our conditions is by way of institutional systemic racism. While they come over here and climb right over top of us with our affirmative action, with our entitlements that were supposed to make us whole for school. By the time we show up, ain't nothing left. Over the last decade, Texas prisons have struggled to find employees and keep them. As prisons expanded and incarceration numbers ballooned in the 90s, who do you think that is? This might as well say, as prison slave labor expanded and incarceration numbers ballooned in the 90s for American descendants of chattel slavery, many facilities were built in small towns with high unemployment. But then the rest of the economy improved and the state simply could not compete with the private industry. A recent boom, and this is what's happening down here as well. We are 51% Hispanic down here. They come over here and they take these low-level jobs. They use our affirmative action to do double time and get the education to climb right over top of American descendant of chattel slavery, who they vote against when it comes time for Prop 16 to reinstate the quotas to guarantee African Americans get educated down here. And then they tell you you've got to know Spanish for a job interview. And when you show up and speaking it fluently as they do, but you don't have the complexion for the protection, you're not getting those jobs. Oh, I'm here to tell it. I'm here to tell it. This is what I mean by these Democrats creating the problems and they want our votes to be the solution while weaponizing immigration and white supremacy of all colors. Because what? The color of whiteness in this country is green. The color of white supremacy is green. We are the doorway for all of this to go on. And we continue to vote these Democrats in the office to our own people's peril. Today's march should have been filled like that of the Civil Rights March. I don't know what the final numbers were, but when I saw it earlier, hardly anybody was out there. They got y'all comfortable watching the mainstream media while our reparations is being used to make everybody whole but us. Harder to document, but no less real is what National Public Radio recently termed a cultural stigma around guarding prisons. Correctional officers have always suffered from a lack of the esteem Americans bestow on soldiers, police officers, firefighters, and other public servants who risk violent injury and death in their work. Okay, I've had enough of that. I'm done. You get the idea. Now let me show you who these Nigerians, what some of them. Okay, let me just share this copyright disclaimer real quick. Copyright Act of 76, disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, I got that out the way. Let me close that down. Because I'm here to tell you they will stop my videos from showing when I don't do that. Sorry guys. Welcome one and all. Okay, I gotta share who these people descend from. Okay. This should be easier to find. Let's see here. Okay. My great-grandfather, the Nigerian slave trader. Some of you already know this article. Okay. This is who they descend from. Because let me help you understand. The poor Africans can't even get over here. I think they get one visa every 6 months. I have to do the math on that. I have to really go and figure that part out because I'm not really sure, and I don't want to just be talking out the side of my neck, okay? So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to look it up. But, oh, Lord, every time I do this, I get lost. Hold on. I got to get back to the article. I came over, and now I lost my place. Oh, here we go. Okay. So back to the text. So, yeah, this is what so in effect, they sell us into slavery. They come up on that money, that wealth in the families, migrate here to take advantage of the very affirmative action that was supposed to be used to make ADOCS whole. This is how this is working, family. My parents' home in Umejizi, Nigeria, stands on a hilly plot that has been in our family for more than 100 years. Traditionally, the Igbo people bury their dead among the living, and the ideal resting place for a man and his wives is on the premises of their home. My grandfather Erasmus, the first Black manager of a Bata shoe factory in Aba, is buried under what is now the visitors' living room. My grandmother Helen, who helped establish a local church, is buried near the study. My umbilical cord is buried on the grounds, as are those of my 4 siblings. My eldest brother, Namdi, was born while my parents were studying in England in the early 1970s. My father, Chukwuma, preserved the dried umbilical cord and 18 months later brought it home to bury it by the front gate. Down the hill near the river, in an area now overrun by bush, is the grave of my most celebrated ancestor, my great-grandfather, Nuwabani Agogo Oriaku. Okay. Nuwabani Agogo was a slave trader who gained power and wealth by selling other Africans across the Atlantic. He was a renowned trader. My father told me proudly he dealt in palm produce and human beings. Long before Europeans arrived, Igbos enslaved other Igbos as punishment for crimes for the payment of debts and as prisoners of war. The practice differed from slavery in the Americas. Slaves were permitted to move freely in their communities and to own property, but they were also sometimes sacrificed in religious ceremonies or buried alive with their masters to serve them in the next life. When the transatlantic trade began in the 15th century, the demand for slaves spiked. Igbo traders began kidnapping people from distant villages. Sometimes a family would sell off a disgraced relative, a practice that Ijoma Okoro, a professor of Igbo history at the University of Nigeria in Nsukka, likens to the shipping of British convicts to the penal colonies in Australia. People would say, let them go, I don't want to see them again. Between the 15th and 19th centuries, nearly 1.5 million Igbo slaves were sent across the Middle Passage. My great-grandfather was given the nickname Nwabani, which means from the Bonny Port region, because he had the bright skin and healthy appearance associated at the time with people who lived near the coast and had access to rich foreign foods. This became our family name. In the late 19th century, he carried a slave trading license from the Royal Niger Company, an English corporation that ruled southern Nigeria. His agents captured slaves across the region and passed them to middlemen who brought them to the ports of Bonny and Calabar and sold them to white merchants. Slavery had already been abolished in the United States and the United Kingdom, but his slaves were legally shipped to Cuba and Brazil. To win his favor, local leaders gave him their daughters in marriage. By his death, he had a dozen of wives, dozens of wives, okay, dozens, plural. His influence drew the attention of colonial officials who appointed him chief of Umejiese and several other towns. He presided over court cases and set up churches and schools. He built a guest house on the land where my parents' home now stands and hosted British dignitaries. To inform him of this impending arrival and verify their identities, guests sent him envelopes containing locks of their Caucasian hair. Okay, I've had enough. I can only stomach so much of this kind of nonsense. Okay, and the beat goes on. Hold on. What happened to my screen? Oh, let me stop. Hold on. This is interesting. Okay, I don't know. Do y'all still hear me? Let me know. Screen sharing was canceled. Make sure you click share on the modal and not cancel. I didn't cancel nothing here. Okay, I don't know what happened to me and my background. This is very interesting. The tape is still running. We're an hour in. Hold on, family. Understand. Why is it black? You can still hear me, but I can't see me. Let me go to the settings. Hold on, family. Ooh, child, the ghetto. Where is a producer when you need it? Okay, the green screen is marked. I don't understand. My camera is on, family. I promise you, I don't know what just happened. Hold on, let me try to refresh. If I lose you, come back in. To the stream, it's just black. Okay, so let me continue to share. And you can just have to listen to me because I don't know what happened. I had to take it up with StreamYard. It's a hot, buttery ghetto mess. So that ends that segment. I wanted you to understand that a bunch of these immigrants are here to help in our oppression. They're not stomping around under this umbrella of Pan-Africanism unless it means their inclusion in the repair that we are owed. Now, I want to take you now to Some other news about how we're being replaced. Hold on. I got to get to my Gmail and bring this up. I want you to see how we're being replaced. I'm going to play this video and share it with you. Hopefully it won't act up.
So this presentation is for all international teachers. Now let us face
Hold on. You're not going to believe this. The Filipinos are coming over from the Philippines where they earn $3,500 a year as teachers, and they come over here and earn $52,000 in Chicago. Hold on. I hear it, but I don't see it. Hold on.
The United States is a litigious society. They can accuse you of anything. If you are stopped by police, do not resist.
I hear it. Application, your entire screen. Just give me a second, family. I'm not technologically savvy. I apologize for all the pregnant pauses, but I promise you it's worth it. I'm looking for this video that I can hear, but cannot see. Hold on. Find it. Where is it? Close that. Close that. Hold on, family. Oh, Lord, I can hear it, but I don't see it. Close that. Is this sharing the camera with something? Okay, no. Okay, this is YouTube, America's newest outsourced job. Okay, let me close out my other one and see. Hold on. Americans new outsourced job. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Okay, hold on. Okay, let's try it again, family. Okay. Oh, good Lord. Here we go. Share audio.
Why aren't you the landlord? Yes, you. Why
Okay, let's play this.
aren't you the landlord? Every day you go to and from.
Listen to this, y'all. I'll be right back.
So this presentation is for all international teachers. Now let us face who is really an American. When Americans tell you, how are you? They're not really concerned about your well-being. It's just a greeting. Americans are loud. Good or bad? Both, right? Americans love burgers and fries. Americans are direct to the point. They value personal space. Please go out on Fridays and drink. Yes. The United States is a litigious society. They can accuse you of anything. If you are stopped by police, do not resist. Keep your drinks locked because your students can put a drop of poison. No, I'm not joking. It's true. It's true.
In a few weeks, half the teachers in this room will be heading to their new homes in America. The same conditions that have led thousands of U.S. teachers to strike and protest, like stagnant wages, underfunded schools, overcrowded classrooms, have also created an opportunity for foreign teachers. Virtually every state in the country now has a long list of vacancies. And Julieta Sazerman has built a business to capitalize on it. Filipinos speak English, they teach in a similar education system, and they're highly motivated by the wages offered in the US.
It's about 10 minutes long.
I started in New York City public school system as an international teacher way back in 2003. I recently put up our company 2 years ago. The main purpose is to bring in international teachers from the Philippines. When I first came to the United States, they said you can be anything you want to be in America. I didn't believe that. But as the years went by, I realized it's really true.
Today is the last step in what's been a long, anxiety-filled process. They've had to submit applications, pass English tests, perform demo lessons, and then ace job interviews with school districts in the US. There are, about 50 teachers in this room, many of them that are going, many of them really want to go.
Correct.
Do you think they're in for a surprise?
Yes. Because when I first came to the United States as a teacher myself, I told myself, no, it's not going to be a culture shock. But lo and behold, it's not true. Everything was totally different.
Mrs. Sazuman's company is one of the now several taking advantage of a growing trend. School districts around the US have quietly begun using the J-1 visa program, which was originally created as a means of cultural exchange to hire Filipino teachers. In 2009, there were just 21 Filipino teachers in the US on J-1 visas. Last year, there were almost 800, teaching in 19 states throughout the country. And this year, Mrs. Sazuman is sending Chicago public schools its first 27.
Bibili ba tayo ng TV or no?
Including Joanna Nacionales.
Hi, Tito.
Have you started to imagine what your life in the US is going to be like?
Yeah, a lot. I've been watching series in Netflix, it's a comedy show like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, also The Big Bang Theory. Just to get a glimpse of what the culture is like and the way the people talk.
When Joanna applied to teach in the US, she didn't know Chicago was an option, just that the country needed teachers. What is it like to know that you're going to go fill a position or do a job that someone doesn't want in the US?
It's a big advantage for me.
You hear that? We don't want it.
One of the main reasons
Lies!
we go there is for greener pasture.
Greener pastures?
Yeah, greener pastures. The money, it's a bit shameful to say that. I guess so shy, but yeah, that's the reality.
Last year, Joanna made about $3,500 teaching in the Philippines.
Something that was once done only.
Oh, I hate these things. Sorry, guys.
Off your appearance.
It's
Believe it or not,
YouTube.
this isn't some crazy internet rumor. As a doctor, I found that whenever a woman's skin.
Her starting salary in Chicago is $52,000. The only catch is Mrs. Sazuman's one-time fee.
It's $12,700. I talked to my father about it.
$12,700.
Then when he knew the amount, he was so shocked. He just told me, okay, let's take the risk. I'll pay for you, but you have to pay us back. I'll be sending money home, not just for me, but for my family.
Sending the money back home.
Sabi niya kasi, tinatanong ko siya, anong gusto mong lutuin? So she's the chef, I'm the eater.
So how do you feel about your daughter leaving?
A little bit sad, but it's okay because it's career growth.
A lot of people from the Philippines go to work abroad, right?
Yeah, there are many people looking for a job with a more high wages compared in the Philippines.
How do you think she's going to do in Chicago?
I think she will do well.
Okay, that's enough. Save some water.
Mrs. Sazuman and her husband have been in the US for 16 years. They split their time between New York City, where she teaches high school, the Philippines, where they recruit teachers, and the Poconos, where they have a weekend home.
Look at those lands.
Look at how well they're doing. On our
In
dime.
2017, I saw a news on MSNBC that there was a need for teachers. I'm kind of business-minded. And so I told myself, hey, I think I can do this. This one should be deeper, right?
Mrs. Sazuman came up with a name, Trades and Professions Incorporated, registered her company in Delaware, and then started harnessing the power of the internet. How do you decide what school districts or schools to reach out to?
You can Google it, I tried to search for schools that need teachers. And in the forefront came New York City, Texas, Chicago, Florida. It may not be updated, but those are the things that gave me ideas.
Where have you placed teachers so far?
Texas, Tyler, Texas, Montana, Louisiana, and Chicago.
So how do you find the teachers?
Well, by word of mouth. We also have a Facebook page.
Mrs. Sazuman hears from roughly 200 teachers a year this way. At the moment, she has about 70 in her back pocket, already vetted and ready to go. You're kind of like a mother almost to a lot of these teachers. Do you feel that way?
I think so. And that's the role that I want to have, you know?
Of course, Mrs. Sazuman's children are also...
This was a bald spot.
Okay.
And now look at this. I have more hair, which is
Hold on.
so her clients. And the more of them she has, the better, because she pockets about half of her $12,700 fee.
Joanna! Welcome. How was your trip? All right, go this way. Marian! Yay! Yay! Oh, girl.
The rest she uses to pay for things like booking their flights, arranging their transportation, and finding their apartments.
Uy, dati Google Maps lang tayo. Ngayon, nandito na tayo.
Can barely speak the language, but going to teach in Chicago.
Baka may poging ba?
$52,000 a year.
Okay na.
Joanna was set up in a group of 4.
Yes! Thank you, kuya. Kami hindi. Ang bango o may bago?
She's paying $650 a month to share a 2-bedroom apartment with 3 other teachers.
Hello, Ma! Mama! Dito na kami!
The internet's included.
Gusto ko yung ano, Ma, yung lababo. Tingnan mo. Tingnan mo, ah. Socialize! Amen.
Are you in conversations with other districts aside from Chicago?
Yes, we are, but it's going to be for next school year.
Can you tell me what they are?
Absolutely. We are looking forward to working with Dallas Independent School District.
Do you have any idea how many teachers they're looking for?
They said we want to start small.
Which means?
20. That's what they said.
So Republicans are in on the act too.
We're the first batch of Filipino teachers who are hired here in Chicago to teach. And I don't want to make a bad impression about us. I want to say I belong here as a teacher.
There are now more than 500 schools around the U.S. with Filipino teachers on J-1 visas. And the list is still growing. But all of those visas only last for 3 years.
At the end of your term, you have to come back.
But it makes me question whether for the schools that are hiring the teachers, they're like putting a Band-Aid on a problem instead of fixing the problem.
I would say it's a temporary solution. We are filling in the need.
Chicago public schools didn't want to be part of this story, and they ignored multiple requests for comment. The district still has 735 teacher openings listed on its website.
And so let's talk about the median income of whites in Chicago is $70,960 compared with $56,373 for Asians. You saw how these young people that just learned the language are coming up from $3,500 per year to $52,000 per year. Hold that number. So the Asians make $56,373. That would be them. $41,188 for Latinos, and a whopping $30,303 for ADOCS in Chicago. And that was from January 30th, 2017. Let that sink in. Let that sink in, family. And y'all want to know why I stay on tilt. Let's talk about what's happening with housing. Let's go there next. I'm going to stop this. Welcome, one and all. I'll get to your comments momentarily. I still can't see me. I don't understand why. Here I am. It's just black, but I got to keep it moving. So As long as y'all can hear me, I'm good. Because this show has got to go on. Y'all have got to understand the urgency of weaponizing our votes, socializing our suffering, helping us to fix HR 40, getting in this movement. Email me at friendsofadostv@gmail if you are feeling the pressure from this show. It's intended to make you feel the heat. You've got to get involved. I put my email there in the chat. Hopefully it'll show up so you guys can get involved. We can't do this without critical mass. If we could get 10% of ADOCS to move, we could get this reparations in the trillions over multi-generations. We got these politicians respond to pressure, not applause. I'm going to stop that one and share again about what's happening in housing. Let's get into it. So here, I hope y'all can see that. Let me do the whole full thing. Okay, now find my way back. Yeah, they got all these Filipinos and all these immigrants flooding the schools here to teach our children while robbing and denying us of an American wage. They'd rather pay them than pay us. Hold on, guys. I got to get back to the article so I can scroll. Here we go. Okay. So here the bite is saying young people are choosing to live in pods instead of apartments. Is this the logical endpoint of the sharing economy? Pod life. Young people have long chosen to rent co-working spaces and take ride shares instead of buying cars. Now, some are pushing the sharing economy to its logical conclusion. NPR reports that young people in Los Angeles and other cities around the country are choosing to rent small pods instead of an apartment. Expensive future. Through a service called PodShare, young people are giving up the comfort of private home for a bunk bed with shared kitchen and bathroom facilities. Naturally, the biggest factor in that decision are sky-high rents in larger cities, while massive student debt in the U.S. is compounding the problem of an unaffordable lifestyle. So is this a choice, or is this because they have no money? Stop it with the lies. We are 200 liquid down here. Nobody's choosing unless it's white folks who want to rough it. While they're about $150,000 liquid, these Asian Indians down here, Kamala's people, are $425,000 liquid. But look at the way they cloak this. We're going to get to the truth in Dallas in a moment. Naturally, the biggest factor in that decision are sky-high rents in larger cities. Okay, it's unaffordable. Pod is dead, but as NPR points out, there could be another reason why young people are choosing such a minimalist lifestyle. You see how glamorous they make it appear? Co-living, quote, fits very hand in glove with the sense that we are now moving into an experience economy rather than a possessions economy. What the hell? Florida State University professor Jill Pable told NPR this is tied to, for example, the tiny house movement, she said, and a great emphasis on travel these days. So it's a choice for the wealthy. Let's talk about what it is for us. ADOCS. Oh my God. Oh, fix it, Black Jesus. Lord, today, I cannot. Here we go. One man's pod is another man's affordable housing. Shipping containers will be used for affordable Dallas housing project. Rental units southeast of downtown will be constructed from steel containers. Affordable housing will now have us living in shipping containers. Look at how packed tight that is. Does this not feel like the slave ship? We have been reduced to affordable housing, living in shipping containers for damn near $1,000 a month. Let's get into it. Miriam Anderson Architects has designed some of Dallas's largest historic building restorations, and the Dallas architect has done new buildings in downtown, East Quarter development, and the suburbs. But the firm's latest project required thinking outside the box. It's an apartment complex made out of shipping containers in Southeast Dallas. Yippee! Miriam teamed up with local firm City Square Housing to design the Lomax Container Housing Project on South Malcolm X Boulevard. South Malcolm X Boulevard of all places. Construction is set to start early this year. The 19 one-bedroom affordable housing units are made out of repurposed 300 square feet shipping containers. 300 square feet, family. The compact rental units have a living area located in front of a kitchen, a bathroom, and a single bedroom. The unique apartment units will be rented starting at about $906 a month, including utilities, and are restricted to residents earning 60% or less of the area median income. Let's talk about it. What? I'm looking it up. Median. I hate these things. I hate these ads. Okay. Median income, Blacks, Dallas. Okay. Let's talk about it. Let's see. I don't need 100 pages to tell me what the median income is. Okay, let's talk about it. Still in the race for the bottom. The population of Dallas is 24% Latino, 42% white, 29%. The liquid asset poverty, 65.8% Latino, 61.3%, and we're 24%. But our liquid poverty is 61.3%, Asians 32.7%, and white folks 22.9%. The median household income for Blacks in Dallas, $30,985 to Latinos, $37,731 to Asians, $54,364 to white folks, $73,091. Home ownership rate. 28.5% of us own homes to 41.4% of the Latinos to 33.6% Asian and 53.2% white. Household with zero net wealth. 35% Blacks have zero net wealth in Dallas. 28% Latino, 15% white, 14% Asian. Property values. The Black folks' properties are worth about $85,000. The Latinos is worth $90,000. The Asians are worth $245,000, and the white folks is worth $295,000. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, family. Let me come over and read your comments. And then I'm going to pray us out and talk about Henry Bibbs a little bit. 5-minute video will play us out for tonight. I'm just sickened by all of this. I'll read the pertinent comments. Let me at least scroll a banner. So maybe y'all, if you have any money for me to continue to do this work, your donations are appreciated. I do this for the love of ADOCS. But it's nice to get supported in the work when you can. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys hello, but I'm just reading pertinent comments. Mike Michelson is talking about Richard Winfield from Tamara's show. He was dancing around when me and Logic and Graham and Ali Bay was bringing that heat. He was dancing around like he was about to pee himself. That's what Mike Michelson's talking about. It was hilarious. It was hilarious, but shameful at the same time. Did you have some limeade with cayenne and chia seeds? When? Yesterday, Mike? I had some earlier. That's why I had to step away. I had to run to the ladies. Yep, he was unmitigated, but he soon got mitigated. Mike Michelson, you tickle me. Yes, he had his I don't think he had his come to Jesus meeting because he was not making any sense at all. Yes, we gave him that work. Everybody was heated. Yes, they were. Mike Michelson making the case for reparations. Yes, I am. Shannon Ward, welcome, my love. Brian Johnson, welcome. I love that you take the time to read through these policies with us. This is more than essential that we realize what these policies are packed and not packed with. I'm going to show that one. Yes, indeed. I do this because we need to learn politics. I am doing my best not to be, God, what's the word I'm looking for? Impatient. Because those of us over here were babies at one time too. I am just over the identity and respectability politics to our own peril. I thank you for appreciating that I read through this stuff. Because this is the lens in which we have to examine everybody whom we vote for. I hate to say it, we'd have been better off with Trump. He was at least protecting us and our borders from all of this floodgate of immigration that's going on, that's killing us the most. White high school dropouts are more gainfully employed than college degree ADOCS. I read you the median salaries. And they're worse now that we've lost our jobs during this pandemic. And so I'm going to talk about weaponizing the vote and socializing the suffering, because we must move as a block. We can't play with this. We must do it immediately because we are literally almost out of time. When Biden opens up the floodgates to 22 million more immigrants to do what I've already shown you, our vote will no longer matter. We'll be fourth-class citizens and tethered permanently to the bottom of this country. That is the urgency. Okay. Is he also looking to cancel Women's History Month, Hispanic Heritage Month? Oh, you're talking about the Nigerian that's running as a Republican in Michigan. Oh, no. Oh, no, he's not looking, Brian, to cancel any of that. Just our month. The Nigerian, who more than likely descends from slave traders, has decided to cancel Black History Month if he's elected in Michigan and make it an American History Month. Because it's biased to focus on us for 1 month out of the year, even though our ancestors built all the wealth they all eat from by the way of heinous chattel slave labor. I wouldn't be surprised if one of his ancestors was instrumental in trading us into slavery. Jermaine Woods, welcome to the live. Frida Gillespie. Trey Lincoln says, all the Africans are working for TDCJ. Yeah, until they can get their degrees. off of our affirmative action, and then they move on. So retention is tough because they just coming through and climbing right over top of us. And this is why we need the distinction of American descent of chattel slavery. Because these African and Caribbean immigrants are masking the failure of the descendants of American chattel slavery. What's up, Toothy? Welcome to the live. Pure Vision, welcome to the live. Yes, please share, share, share. Like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. I'm going in every Friday and Sunday as close to 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time as I can. Please share. And even when once it renders, right? Once I finish the live, share it, family. I need your help. Oh my God, Brian Johnson, thank you for the love on my Cash App. I appreciate you, family. Your donations are being used to educate the masses and to advocate for the reparations we are not only owed, but will not survive without. There's no other way to close an over $100 trillion egregious racial wealth gap. Brian Johnson, I appreciate you, my love. Hold on, what does my child want? Genesis, I am on my live. What is it?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Bye.
Oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Sorry, fam. ADOS life. She's out with a friend for Valentine's, and I had to take the call. I know y'all forgive me. It's not very professional, but we family over here. Moni Love, what's up? Amos Jones, welcome to the live, my loves. Brian C. Johnson, oh, bless you. A slave trader and black traitor. Yes, sir. That's exactly what he is. The Nigerian who's running on a Republican ticket that wants to get rid of the only month out the year we have for an American History Month when we know the lies inherent in American history. It is why if you don't teach your children their history, they have no clue who they are. And they fall for this nonsense. My daughter knows full well who she is, family. I had her listening to an audio that I'm going to share with you guys in part, probably on Friday's show, about the birth of the HBCU. From the time it was against the law for us to read, all the way up and through the fights against these white folks who wanted to teach us in our own HBCUs. The lives that it's cost will be going on my tabulation on that 104 trillion that I'm demanding of this government on behalf of the people. I will be including how they brought in the troops and the what are those big old things that, oh my God, those big old weapons that sit on wheels. They brought in the tanks and everything and literally murdered 2 students because the students stood up. The way we're standing up for reparations, they annihilated 2 students that didn't even attend the college. Okay? So if we're not teaching our history to our children, they grow up not knowing who they are and what they come from. They don't understand the blood that was shed for all of it. The blood by those 2 brothers who's going to be my featured heroes on Friday for the Freedmen's History Month segment I'm going to do. I'm going to share with you a little snippet and dedicate that show to those brothers. Okay? But yeah, that's all a part of the slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage. It's going on the tab with the decimation of over 50 Black Wall Streets. I need that number. I need the number for the cost of Black life. I need the number for, all the numbers need to be updated to 2021 because these numbers I'm dealing with, 104 trillion, is from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published. What else was in there? The war on drugs, the pandemic, intellectual property that was stolen, over 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated. And the terrorizing of our children who wanted to be taught by Black people in their universities, okay? And they wanted a Black administration. And when they didn't toe the line for the whiteness that was infiltrated all throughout, one school had the unmitigated gall to not even allow us to fraternize with one another. You should hear some of this bull. You're going to be, that's Friday's show. But yes, a Black traitor, he absolutely is. And there's already a miseducation of ADOS in America with 3 Ks going on. He wants more of that to erase our contribution to the wealth that they all eat from. Y'all better understand it. Y'all, and that's what this show is here to do, to help you see what's going on with your people. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Let me calm down. It's hard to calm down. Denise Jarrett, expert stylist. Welcome to the live, my love. More than I made as an IT corporate trainer in New York City. $52,000 is what this Filipino will be making after earning $3,500 a year as a first-time teacher in Chicago public schools. And Mike Michelson says that was more than he made as an IT corporate trainer in New York City. Satra Amant Coxey, if you are playing YouTube, you have to pay for YouTube Premium. No commercials with YouTube Premium. Darling, I'm balling on a budget. My salary has been slashed during the pandemic, but I thank you for that. I may upgrade to that with, more donations. Feel free to help out. This is a balling on a budget kind of show. Debonair One, we here. Thank you, my love, for joining the live. I still see the screen. Yeah, I don't see me, though. So if y'all see me, Lord have mercy. That's a good thing, I suppose. I don't see me. These immigrants can put in special ed. These immigrants can put students in special ed. Honey, all kinds of things are going to be happening to us. You see what happens when we have white teachers. The erasure of Black teachers is why we have a preschool to prison pipeline. My best teachers were Black growing up. My best teachers cared about me like they were my mother. They would call my mama like they were girlfriends and be like, Angie was doing this, she was doing that, and the third. And my mom would handle me when I got home. It was the same thing with the neighbors. We handled each other's kids, okay? That's done. So these immigrants are the new white oppressors. I've shown you the colored faces of white supremacy, the gatekeepers of white supremacy, while eking us out of everything. Do you hear me? Y'all see it? I made the case tonight. They can't afford any other kind of place to live. No, our people cannot afford anything. These shipping containers are going to be hard to afford. These shipping containers will be hard to afford. I told you that their median income is $30,985 in Dallas. They said $900 on the low end. So that's what? $12,000 out of 30? That's more than half the income. Wait, 30. That's almost half of their income. It's going to be used to live in a 300 square foot shipping container. Satra says that school program is not in Georgia. Yet is the operative word. Does Arthur and Marlon know what's going on in Chicago? I'm sure they do, but we need to ring the alarm. We need to ring the honey, we putting out so many fires. We're just like in that oven, like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. We are in the oven. It is fire all the way around the ADOCS. Do you understand me? That's why I expend my energy doing this. It's everywhere. You don't hardly know where to focus. Brian says, choosing pods. Probably because they have no choice, especially ADOCS. Well, ADOCS don't have a choice. I just wanted you to know how they're prefacing it and couching it here in Los Angeles. Because I told you the median incomes and the liquidity. We 200 liquid. So yeah, if folks are choosing pods, it's because they can afford it as an option. What is a necessity for us to survive here and throughout the country? Those look like something from third world countries. Thank you, Brian. I've already told y'all that is the plan of the Democrats, to replace us with immigrants and make us the permanent underclass in the country our ancestors built with their lives. That is what this show is all about. To teach you how to weaponize your vote and socialize your something. A trifecta of both parties, either party, is a death knell for the American descendant of chattel slavery. Hearing these stats hurt. Yes, Moni Love, they hurt me. I'm going to need a drink after this. Playing videos on YouTube may have a 5 to 10 minute window before YouTube shuts you down. Look it up. Satra, it's true, but that's why I put my copyright disclaimer. You know, prayerfully, well, y'all know where to find me. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. So if they shut me down on Facebook, on YouTube, jump over to Facebook, honey. The show must go on. Okay. That might be why my thing is black. I don't even see me. I don't know. Ain't got time. If y'all can hear me and see the screen, y'all good. Okay, so Joel, my diaper buddy JoJo. What's up with you, fam? I love you, black and strong. Okay. She says, speak the truth. Yes, yes, yes. Brian Cambrese. No longer ADOS. We're ADOCS now. The American descendants of chattel slavery. These squabbles have gotten ridiculous. Brian Cambrese. Why don't you go tell Yvette and her chair-throwing crew? Why don't you go tell her what you telling me? Get out of my feed doing this nonsense. It's necessary. She's already threatening lawsuits. I've been ADOCS. I only stood away from ADOCS because y'all had issue before she started throwing chairs at everybody who created the movement, which I am one of them. So this has nothing to do with squabbles. She has promised she will sue if you continue to use the hashtag ADOS. And although I still use ADOS sometime in my language, because I can, I actually legitimized ADOS SoCal 2 years before she started the HQ. But this is not that show. You go over to her show and tell her how ridiculous it is, all right? Frida Gillespie. She sounds so sweet. Hey, a mother's work is never done. Completely understand. We are our babies. Frida Gillespie, girl, we don't have some knockdown dragouts me in that one. She is 16 and she thinks she gave birth to me. I know she sounds sweet when y'all listening, but honey, if you ever raised a teen, you know our blues ain't like nobody else's in the world. Okay. She's sweet most of the time. Okay. Send Cash App info. It's scrolling in the bar. Thank you so much. It's $FOADOS TV. $FOADOS TV. I'm going to put it in here. Thank you for asking, Gibson Eugene, and welcome to the line. Better understand it. Make me a drink, sis. Baby, I wish I could. I wish I was here so we could cry in our what am I going to have tonight? Am I going to have a caramel apple, crown apple blended? Or am I going to have the frozen Brandy Alexander blended? Probably the caramel apple blended with crown apple. It is the bomb.com family. Put a little bit of that cacao, the creme de cacao in it. Baby boo. And I'm just going to coast as I watch and chill with my Netflix. Yes, I am. I done earned that drink today. This is a fire show. I mean, save the glitches. Put your copyright disclaimer as a screen when you start your live, sis. Yes, that was the intent, but Harriet Tubman's face all sprawled out on a 20 was what won. But I do need to do that at the very top of the show. I do. Oh, Lord. Thank you guys for always helping me. Okay. Mike Michelson, you keep me laughing. I'm so grateful to all of y'all who keep me laughing. But Mike Michelson, oh my God, you are the comedian of the ADOCS movement. Yes, you are. The reparationist movement. Satra said our elders did not get FHA loans. Elders build house with orange milk crates. Now we have to rent shipping crates. Baby, I am trying to can with it, but I just cannot. All right, family, I'm going to pray us out, and then I'm going to show our hero, our featured hero for this evening, Henry Bibbs. Did you know before Harriet Tubman, there was Henry Bibbs? And family, thanks to Mike Michelson, you can listen to his entire narrative, 5 hours long on YouTube. Look it up. Debonair 1, tornadoes will toss them shipping containers. Dallas is tornado. Oh my God. You should make a banner that runs at the bottom to display the fair use notice. Maybe that will help. Thank you. I will do just that. I love, love, love all the suggestions. Henry Bibbs is fire. Mike Michelson turned me on to him. I'm going to show you guys like a 5-minute, 20-second video. If they shut it down, just look at the archives later over in Facebook at the Reparationist Perspective. You guys can subscribe over there too. The Kindle book was free on Amazon when I got it. Look at that. Well, the audio is rich for those of you who have a ton of books and no time to read it. The audio book is over there. Thank you, Mike Michelson, for recommending that. I'm going to pray us out, and I'm going to play us out with a 5-minute rendition of the incredible freedman, Henry Bibbs. Let me just give us a prayer that the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever ADOCS and his allies are, God truly is. Because why, family? You are the face of God, the voice of God, the body temple of the spirit of the ancestors and the living God. Until Friday, family, where I will be bringing you another fire show. You make it a beautiful, God-inspired rest of your week. And you show up in the world knowing exactly who you are. If no one's told you today, family, I love you so much. Black and strong. Peace, family. Let us play us out. I'll stop this and cue up the video. Stand by. This is just a 5-minute clip, but like I mentioned, I'm going to try to share this. Well, let me not. I just want to get the show on the road. Where is my little 5-minute, 2 seconds? Lord, today, where is it when you need it? History. Just a second, Van. Oh, no wonder. It switched me. Let me change my channel. Okay. Home. Henry Bibb. Okay, here we go. Enjoy, family. It's rich.
Henry Bibb was an American author, abolitionist, and former slave. Born in May of 1815, he was the oldest of 7 brothers born to an African mother in Shelby County, Kentucky. Henry's father was a white man from Kentucky by the name of James Bibb. Little more is known about his father other than his name. Henry spent his early life under the authority of Mr. White. Mr. White was an older widowed gentleman with a daughter about Henry's age. They had been playmates until the daughter was sent off to receive a formal education. During her schooling years, Henry was hired out to pay for her education. One of the men he was forced to work under was a man by the name of Mr. Vyers. The conditions he was forced to endure were terrible and cruel, many of them brought on by the hand of Mrs. Vyers. I was a wretched slave, compelled to work under the lash without wages and often without clothes enough to hide my nakedness. I have often worked without half enough to eat, both late and early, by day and by night. I have often laid my weary limbs down at night to rest upon a dirt floor or bench without any covering at all, because I had nowhere else to rest my weary body after having worked hard all day. Henry Bibb. The first time after Henry ran away, he was determined to live as a free man. A cycle of escape and recapture continued to unfold. Each time Henry was punished, he became more determined. In the year of 1833, Henry met his future wife for the first time. After a short courtship, they married under common law, for at this point it was illegal for one slave to marry another. Soon after they married, his wife Melinda was expecting their first child, a baby girl named Frances. The rough, cruel treatment by his masters was finally enough. For on the same plantation, I was compelled to stand and see my wife shamefully scourged and abused by her master. And the moment in which this was done was so violent and inhumanely committed upon the person of a female that I despair in finding decent language to describe the bloody act of cruelty. Henry Bibb. Henry had had enough, and he was determined to find freedom for his family. This marks the first time he set out for the free lands of Canada. Little did he know he would be making many more trips back to his home of Kentucky to try and free his family. Despite his many attempts, he was never able to free them. Henry was disgusted and appalled by the treatment of his fellow African slaves. Henry was determined to make a difference in the lives of his people. For this very reason, he created Canada's first black newspaper titled Voice of the Fugitive. The newspaper published work that focused on convincing African slaves to settle in Canada. He was also the founding director of a Canadian Black colonization project, the Refugee Home Society, for which much of the ads were placed in his newspaper. The narrative of the life of Henry Bibb is a very convincing and thorough piece of work. Written firsthand by Henry Bibb himself, it correctly and accurately portrays his life through his time as a slave. His writing was cross-examined by a committee on April 22, 1845, and proved to be credible. I have heard his story, and must say that I have not the least reason to suspect it being otherwise than true. J.W. Smith. Henry Bibb's narrative only further showed me the gross propaganda and misinterpretations on American slavery. Much of our history classes and novels depict African slaves as weak, simple, and compliant people. Our media and history tells us stories of compliance and stupidity. While it is quite clear, based on the accounts of countless African slaves, including Henry, that this is very much the opposite. The African slaves forced into the tireless, back-breaking work were strong. They were determined. They were courageous. They were and are a people who refuse to take a lash without fighting back. They overcame their hardships and have grown into a culture who are not afraid to embrace their beautiful and diverse backgrounds. Henry Bibb showed me what true love means to a family. Henry was given 2 options in his life. He would either comply to the will of his white masters, he would take the cruel, brutal punishments while working their lands, or he would escape and try to better the future of his family and even perhaps his people. He was born into slavery, but he was determined to die a free man. Free from the chains of his oppressors, and free from the mental strain he was accustomed to. Henry set out on a dark and dusty road to an unfamiliar place, but he was determined. He was determined to escape and find a new life for his family. If there is one thing we remember about the African slaves, it's that they are not the weak people our history books tell us to believe.